If I were to ask your three closest friends, are you funny? What would they say? Do you consider yourself to have a nice sense of humor? You're funny, you're middle of the road, you're not very funny. What would you say? Humor is very difficult to dissect and explain why something is funny. And people are like, oh, I want to learn how to be more funny. It can be difficult to do that because there's so many factors involved. But I wanted to boil down the 4 strongest theories for why something is funny for you, so you can just kind of start to wrap your head around these ideas when you're formulating jokes and thinking about how could I be funnier? How could I bring a little more humor into my conversation? You're able to do that because bringing in humor is so powerful. I think over the next 20 years, we're really going to start to learn more about why humor is powerful. But man, it just displays confidence. It puts people at ease. There's really no downside to well-timed humor. And one of the reasons that that's kind of an overarching concept that I'll get into a bit later, is that you can't be funny when you're nervous and scared. Your brain shuts that off. Just like it can be hard to make conversation around someone who's super high status, or when you're nervous, you just don't know what to say. You go to ask a girl on a date, and you're like, oh, well, I can usually talk perfectly. Now I can't. Your brain, when you're under stress, shuts off that part of the brain, the free association, the being able to come up with ideas, and also humor. So when things are tense and you display humor, people are like, wow, this guy's cool. He's confident. He's relaxed in this environment. That makes them, number one, assign higher status to you. And number two, makes them comfortable in that environment. So now you're the guy that could lead them to water in a stressful environment so they can relax. So let's dive into number 1, the superiority theory. So what this basically says is when you make a joke about someone or something that is inferior to you, it's funny. So somebody trips and falls, it's funny, right? They're the dope that tripped and falled. You're the one standing looking at them, right? Oh, they acted a fool. It's always funny. True, it is funny to watch people. It's just naturally funny to watch people do that, unless they get hurt. Clearly, there's no malicious intent in this, but when things go wrong and people don't get hurt, it's kind of funny. But I want to take this a step further, and this isn't what this theory implies, but I want to add it because it kind of fits for this superiority thing. When people have high value or high status, other people truly think the jokes they tell are funnier. Sure, you're gonna get people like when the CEO's around telling a joke that nobody thinks is funny. They're all gonna laugh just because of his status. But studies show that people that have higher status are actually perceived as funnier. So when you have a high status, your jokes are just gonna land so much easier. That's why a lot of people who are trying to improve, maybe they're starting with a low social status and they're trying to be funny, and these jokes may be delivered the exact same way that they are by a higher status person. They're gonna fall flat because they have lower status and people are looking at them like, yeah, you're a bum. You're not gonna say anything funny, versus some guy who's really, clicked on, has high status, and they're expecting something funny. It's an easier audience. So as you begin to improve your social status and your social awareness, you're gonna be naturally perceived as more funny. If you don't feel like you have very high status right now, you don't feel like your friends or your colleagues hold you as having high value or high status, maybe they talk down to you, maybe when your social environment, you don't completely understand what's going on, you're not sure you can go up to somebody and get them to like you. I don't have time to talk about that in this video, but I have a program called the Social Invincibility Program. You go to socialinvincibility.com or touch or click up here and I can talk to you about more how you can improve there. Number 2, the relief theory. This was actually coined by old Sigmund Freud back in the day. And he says that when you're in a stressful environment or a stressful situation and someone can break that stress with a joke, it lowers the tension, and that's funny for people, okay? And the reason I think that is because you're gonna have a super easy crowd. Just like when I'm coaching people to give talks for a wedding, I'm like, this is gonna be the easiest crowd ever. Usually people are drinking, they wanna be nice, they wanna laugh, they wanna have a good time. You can literally usually get up and give a speech that's a 2 out of 10 and people are gonna applaud it and laugh like it's an 8. Easy crowd. Also, in stressful environments, people don't want to feel that stress and tension. So anytime anyone cracks a joke, it's just going to be like a little bomb goes off and people are going to laugh so hard because they want to diffuse that tension, and laughter is a great way to do it. So a cool way you can apply this is be very aware of that. In a stressful environment, if you can crack these little jokes, even if it's just to a couple people right here, it's gonna position you as someone who what did we talk about? Can find humor in stressful environments, high social status, putting them at ease, a very high status thing to do. Number 3, the incongruency theory. And what this says is that anytime something clearly doesn't match intentionally, it's kind of funny. So an example is when people put sunglasses on their pets, right? Clearly the pets aren't wearing sunglasses, but it's funny because it's incongruent. Or what's another one? You walk up to a taco shop and you ask for a table like you're at a black tie event. Something like that that clearly doesn't make sense, but intentionally is oftentimes funny. And I really like this one because you can really kind of take this one wherever you want, and it allows you to be really creative because there's an infinite amount of things that are incongruent, but through experience, you'll learn specifically what type of incongruencies are funnier, and it kind of enables you to open up the whole playing field for all different kinds of types of jokes in all different environments and settings. Number 4, the kick of the discovery theory. I'm not sure it was named like this, but basically it says, you're telling a story and you're leading people down this path, and then at the very end, you bring in a new piece of information that's completely unanticipated and funny. An example, this isn't gonna be funny, but an example would be like, maybe you're telling a story of some dude who's just so creepy, and it gets creepier and creepier, and at the very end, you're like, oh, hey dad, it was my dad. Okay, so something that can't be anticipated at the end that shocks people and throws them for a loop. And one that I feel like was left out that I'm gonna create on my own that actually I think is oftentimes the funniest, and I use this all the time, the exaggeration theory. And so what this says is you take something about the person that you're with that's kind of funny, right? Maybe you're poking fun at them about something, or usually you're poking fun at them about something. And then you take it and amplify it to a ridiculous point where it's not even reality, and it makes it way funnier. So it's based in reality, but it's so exaggerated, there's no way it could be real. So an example of this, let's say you're driving with a girl who drives crazy and really fast, and you're giving her a hard time about it. And then later in the day, you see some article about Elon Musk building a spaceship to go to Mars. And you're like, I bet you could cut the travel time down by about 50% if you were behind the helm of that thing. Something like that. Clearly, first of all, she's never going to be an astronaut. She couldn't cut down the speed or double the speed these spaceships go. But because she drove crazy, it's funny, right? It's a throwback humor to something that you were already teasing them on, and it's amplified to an unrealistic amount. I think those are really funny too. But maybe being funny is something that is beyond what you're trying to do. Maybe you're just trying to learn how to go up to somebody and start a conversation. What do you say? I actually put out a video, you can touch or click right here, that's gonna teach you an easy way in any environment. You can go up, engage someone, and get them to want to talk to you. And if you want to check out that social invincibility program I was talking about, you can touch or click right here to do so. I'll talk to you there. Go up, start a conversation with a complete stranger. But there are 3 different ways